Hello, welcome to 3D Hangouts. My name is Noel Ruiz. I'm a designer here at Adafruit, and joining me every week is my brother Pedro.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Pedro, Creative Tech here at Adafruit, and every week we're here to share 3D printed projects featuring electronics from Adafruit.
That's right. This is the show where we combine 3D printing and DIY electronics to make inspirational projects para ustedes. Trying to confuse the AI captions that we're eventually going to get. Hello, my name is...
It never gets Spanish.
It never gets my name
so
right.
Annoying.
My name
What did I send you?
Noe.
It was Daniel Luiz or something like that.
Yeah, it was like just the most random thing.
When I was transcribing the thing last night, I don't know what happened to TikTok, but it like forgot how to spell. I forget what the words were, but 3 different words. I was like, are you kidding me? That's not how you spell that.
TikTok forgot how to spell.
It's like, it's already annoying that it spells color with a U.
Oh, is it British?
Yeah, I just leave it because like colors is in too many spaces.
Yeah. Well, let's welcome everyone to the show. This is 3D Hangouts. It is episode 520. And the date for today is Wednesday, March 18th, 2026. Yes, I did look at my calendar over there. We're hanging out in the Adafruit Discord server. If you'd like to join us throughout the show, if you have any questions or comments, GIFs or GIFs, you can post them up on the Adafruit Discord. We're on the live broadcast chat channel where you can join the many thousands of folks that have joined up and sharing their projects, sharing questions, and just having a good time. We're also streaming on a couple of networks like Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, Twitch, and X. So if you have any questions over there on those networks, we can bring those in and answer them and highlight your comment if we so choose. We have some major deals and sales and coupons going on. So let's start off with freebies. Get on over to adafruit.com/free. You can find out the 2 tiers that are going on right now. These get automatically added to your cart. If your order is at $99 or more, you'll automatically get a free PCB coaster with a golden Adafruit logo. And at the top tier at $199 or more, if you spend that much, you'll get the PCB coaster plus free UPS ground shipping for continental US only. And while you're at checkout, why don't you use our coupon code CLOCKSPRING to get 10% off your order. This expires midnight tonight, Eastern time. So it's good for the next several hours, 24 hours perhaps. And then this is our weekly sale. This is the last one of this month. It's called the clearance sale. Let me bring up the banner because we made a banner for this. Here it is. Clearance sales week at Adafruit. So if you go over to, if you click on the link at the top here, the green banner, you'll get the special category page with a bunch of things that are on sale, ranging from 40 to 60% off. Lots of things. So many things. Too many things? No, not too many things.
Too many to name.
There's a lot of things. Enclosures, connectors, cables, dev boards. Here's an interesting one. This is the LED glasses panel. That one's $15. We have 42 of those in stock. Like I said, dev boards, a bunch of cowbells as well for the Raspberry Pi Pico boards, potentiometers, knobs, DIY HDMI cable parts, CNC parts, a lot of LEDs, a lot of ribbon cables, so much good stuff. Headers, tons of feather LED feather wings. Just on and on and on. There's so much stuff here. It kind of combines all of the previous week sales into one giant sale here. A ton of LED strips as well. So much good stuff. This kind of is an endless scroll, so I'll just jump back up to the top and then just say You can use our coupon code as well to get 10% off. I think maybe it might not apply. I'm not sure. So let me know. I should have asked, does the coupon code work on things that are discounted? I'm not sure. Yeah. So that is the sales. That is the coupon code. Thank you, everybody, so much for putting their orders in and keeping this thing going. Yeah. All right. That is the show. Just kidding. We're still doing the show. Anything I can help with? Your page is posting links to everything, the sales, the newsletter. If you want to subscribe to our newsletter to find out about Adafruit products and more, we have newsletters.
Oh, the distributors.
Distributors, if you are outside the United States and you still want to purchase some things, you can go to the Adafruit shop, scroll all the way down, and there's a link called Distributors where you can see all the different countries and provinces and places that stock Adafruit stuff. So you can check those out if you want something more local, if you're outside of the United States. Lots of great distributors here. Okay. All right. Continuing on with the show, we have a new project, 3D printed project from Pedro. This we've been talking about this for the past week, and it is now published and ready for everybody to check out. Go ahead, Pedro. Let's hear about it.
This is the blurry art inspired matrix analog clock. So PT sent over this as an inspiration. A couple of the museums have this really cool matrix blurred diffuser sculptures that pull information. The one that he sent was for like environmental data. It's like pulling in like wildfires or temperature over time. I wanted it to just be a simple analog clock. And with all the coding projects going forward, it isn't that simple. We added a bunch of really cool features to this. Let's get the next clip going. One of the features is we've worked on quite a bit of clocks, and I don't think we've had one where it was able to automatically get the daylight savings time. So we had that installed on here, so it automatically pick up where you are at and does the calculation for daylight saving time. And then the other thing that it does too is let you manually set if you don't have your Wi-Fi credentials on there. And then the other cool thing to mimic what the sculptures were doing is have the background change. So throughout the day, it'll change to the morning, day, evening, and nighttime backgrounds. So we have some cool little wave animations that are happening in there, inspired by colors in the sky here in Florida. So we have the day, we have the evening. You can kind of see the wave that's happening there. You can increase the speed of that. We change that. You can see there that's a little bit more faster. Change my battery here. And then we get the other ones. The nighttime one is pretty cool because it has a bunch of little twinkling stars. So there's a bunch of variations. Yeah. Bunch of like editable code changes you can do. So like the velocity, the speed, and the gradients that it all uses. There's contrasting colors that you can change to, like the hand, and then like all of the 5-minute marks, like the position of the stars. Show here how it looks like going a little bit slower. Here you can see that it goes a little bit slower. So that's cool. If it doesn't detect Wi-Fi, it'll go into manual mode, so you can set the time manually. So that was really cool. And then as I'm finishing up the project, like going through the guide, I failed to remember that the Matrix Portal S3 has a LIS 3DH in there.
It does.
So I could have had the
accelerometer,
Yeah, the accelerometer sense
Funny.
what angle it's at, but we have it on there manually. So if you hold down the up button, you can change the orientation to have it be hung up, or if you want to have it, at a different angle, uh, it'll accommodate that way. So you can manually set the screen rotation to set up if you want to have it on a desk, or if you want to have it mounted on a wall. We have these little mounting brackets that dual act as the little handles. So if you want to take off the diffuser,
Yes,
was one of the problems I was running into, and I was like, oh no, we're gonna have to include like a little thumb, the M3 thumb knurled, what do they call it? Yeah.
Screws.
Thumb screws, yeah. I was like, wait a minute. Since I needed to add an additional little hanger that levels out the back because of the IDC cable. Let me show from the side here. Yeah, the way that it protrudes out, this helps to level out the other side of that. So that works perfect. And the way that it snaps in, you see these little holes that it has on the side. Got some little nubbins on the side of the case, along the side of the stopper that lets you control how farther away the screen is to control the diffusion. Show here, you can see from like an angle, you can have it be super diffused. Found like the happy medium, so where you can kind of still see a little bit of the individual pixels, so you can make out the stars for the 5-minute marks.
Okay.
So we're using the gray translucent PLA. When it's off, it doesn't look like it's translucent, so that looks super cool. So as the light shines through it, we're able to see the diffusion. I don't have this connected to the computer, so I won't be able to show off like the manual time setting for it.
Okay.
But we'll show it off in the guide. The up and down button will act as the minute and the hour, and then you pull down to accept the time.
Yeah.
Let's see. Yeah, super cool way to have a nice visual with actual usability of being able to tell the time. We've been using this to teach the kids how to read analog time. We already have it in the kitchen. There was like a spot, I forgot what was up there, like a mirror or something, and it fit perfectly on there. So the wall already looks empty right now with that, having it on as the demo. So that is where it will live. It'll be an actual project that we use.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, yes, that is what it does. And it looks so pretty, especially with all the different gradient colors. You can go in there and change the speed and all that. I think that one and then the nighttime one are my favorite ones.
That one's really nice because it has good contrast.
Yeah.
Now there's some flickering, but that's just camera stuff.
And that's the on camera looks. You can see like the shutter not matching the camera, and then the saturation looks off. You can see there's some sort of skipping, but man, this thing looks so beautiful in person. As you see like that soft. Exactly like the acrylic diffusion, the resin acrylic diffusion that they're using in those sculptures. Yeah, it looks like to the eye, it looks so soothing. It's a shame you can't capture all that.
Yeah, it really is difficult.
No matter what I do, there's a bunch of tricks that we had Claude go in there and to adjust like how the shutter speed is being affected for the webcams to try to.
Did you leave that in as a mode? I remember last week you were clicking a button.
Yeah, that's default now.
Okay, good. So it's default. And your eye really can't discern it because we have, persistence of vision, and we can just kind of blend flickering, but cameras just, there's some weird hotspots that happen randomly. Again, that's just the webcam.
It's the shutter speed that's, trying to adjust to whatever the color, the levels, exposure levels.
Autofocus is kind of doing that dance.
Yeah, I see it. I just noticed.
Because it's a blurry thing. You can't focus on a blurry thing, phone.
No, I had to do the manual focus on all the shots. And
that's even still, that's
for the
capture blurry object.
a lot of the behind the scenes are captured with the glasses, which you can't adjust the freaking shutter speed. So I had to shoot a lot of those.
Yeah.
I had to shoot the heroes with the phone, with again manual exposure locked, and then raising the EV up to increase the shutter speed on it, so it would look good. That was the only annoying thing.
Yeah.
There's how it looks all nice and soft. It's
that's
super pleasing. Here's the fast mode. And again, all of this is code, so you can adjust all that to fit your if you want the colors to be, you know, not as saturated, or to the hands to be like a different color, for it to be more contrast.
Yep. Okay. Do you want to let's take a quick deep dive into the Learn Guide. So there is the Learn Guide.
All right, taking a look at the Learn Guide, everything I just said, all condensed down into all the bullet points, what you want to see, and the inspiration for this. We took a look at this last week. Where'd it go? Oh no, I'd have to switch.
Yeah, don't worry about it. There's a link to inspiration.
You can check it out. Let's see, where am I? Here's what it looks like from the side mounted. Like you were saying before, that other mount helps to level out the back. And then the manual rotation. Laughing at the included LIS 3DH that could have detected that for me.
Yeah. Well, you could go back into your prompt and update it.
Nah, I'm good.
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah.
Here's the screen that we use in stock. The Matrix Portal 3 in stock. And some of the power supply. The Crade translucent. Oh man.
Oh, good. You linked it. Very nice.
Yeah. It's the.
Yeah, it's from Polymaker, I believe.
Polymaker, yeah. Translucent. I really like the way it does the diffusion on this.
Yeah.
Going on to the circuit diagram, we are using the included IDC cable to route the Matrix portal. You can plug this directly into the back of the Matrix display, but the board will stick out way too much. So rearrange that. So we're just using the included ribbon cable, the IDC cable, and we're plugging it into the top socket on the Matrix portal. There's another one on the bottom, and that's where you would plug it directly into your Matrix display. And then the included power cables, it does include a cable where you are able to attach, like daisy chain, multiple displays. But to keep the cable management down, I chopped it up to get rid of the extra 2 connections and then shorten the cable. So you can do that, or just coil it up. I decided to chop it up and do that. Solid Circuit Python for the Matrix portal. Nice little walkthrough on that. Update that. And then we got a custom settings TOML file for this.
Okay.
So I didn't mirror this in. I set up a new page to show you how it's doing the time zone and the daylight savings.
Oh, look at that.
If you manually want to set that up. This is what we used to do with the -4, -5.
Oh, I love this breakdown. You give us an idea of what the number values are. So Eastern, Central, Mountain, Pacific, or 0 for GMT, or +1 for CET.
Yeah.
And then just a true or false for DST, which is daylight savings time. Excellent. Yeah, good.
Yep, and you can set up the default display rotation, what it starts up at. So you can set that up there, and it tells you what each rotational degree, where the USB cable.
Yeah, that is very handy.
I did not tell Claude to do any of this. It did it all on its own, so that's super impressive.
Yeah. How does it know that the USB cable is pointing that way? Did you tell it?
I told it initially, but I did not tell it to break down each degree on where it would be pointing, which is, again, the context that it knows now, because it's been working completely on this project. Like even the voiceover script, I've been training it the last 2 projects that I did. Like once I completed, I would go back and be like, okay, here's what the guide looks like now complete. pull from memory everything you know about this project, because it's still in the same chat window. Here's how this, ended up being as a finished guide and then a finished video. So it was able to pull all that into memory and save it as a skill for the next project. So it knows how to write a script. It knows how to do the breakdown, the TOML file. I trained it on how to make a customized TOML file. So each project that's getting, stronger on how to duplicate what, would have taken us. I think it takes you like, a day and a half just to write the script, and you don't have all the context on
long,
code and features. Like you always have to ask, like, oh, what am I doing here? So
a lot of
time.
A lot of times I'll read a script and it doesn't. I'll write a script and then I'll read it and like that doesn't sound. It sounds too, written like
Wordy.
an author. It doesn't sound right. It just doesn't sound natural. So I'll change.
Yeah,
basically everything I wrote. Same thing with AI. It's like it sounds a little too, I don't know. It just doesn't sound like natural English.
Yeah,
but maybe it'll get better.
Yep. Yeah. When I'm done with this, I'm gonna shoot it back over to the finished video and be like, all right, here's what the finished script looks like.
Okay.
Notes. So each time that it finishes, when we finish a project, I'm gonna train it on, hey, here's what the completed thing looks like. Saved in memory as a skill, what has changed between what you wrote and what was finalized,
Yeah. What are these tips? What's going on here?
So this is how the TOML file looks finished, how it's all written out. So your Wi-Fi password, your ID, how we have it set up to download. Right. And then over to the coding section. Nice breakdown of how the code is all set up, all nice and commented and linted and all that. So everything is set up for you with comments. Like here's all the helper stuff, all the display setups. So you can change like the bit depth if you want to have like different colors on it, or if you're using like a different matrix display. Initially, I was using the 64 by 64. But I wanted using the smaller 32 by 32. How your library should be set up, and then how all the code works, so like the code geometry, the time periods, like when you want the different backgrounds to set up. So you can change that around if you want. Wave animations, all the color palettes, the hand and marker colors. So all of that is editable. Nothing is a bitmap or a GIF or something like that. It's all generated in code. The stars initially, like the way that it had the stars, sometimes it would get covered and blocked by the hands, the hour hand or the minute hand. So I told it to make sure that it avoids any of those positions. So here's what it came up with. But if you don't mind having them being covered up or in the way, you can change the positions of that. Interesting one with the radio glow here. When JP was reviewing the code for this, he was like, "Oh, how does the brightness exceed 100%, the 135%?" So it had Claude to detail what it actually meant, and what it was talking about was the color palette. So how the brightness is 255. That's what it was talking about. The full brightness, if you guys don't know, the values are 255. It's doing 135% of that, and why it's doing this radio blur is to avoid the PWM pulsing that you would see sometimes, like on darker outlines for the minute hand and the hour hand. So that's how we're avoiding any sort of PWM pulsing, is by giving it like a blur on not just the hand and the minute hand, but like the entire background as well. There's like an entire radio glow blur that's going on to try to smooth out all of the flickering that's going on. And that's how we're achieving the close as it can get to the matching the shutter speed on a web camera.
All right.
Let's see how it's doing the daylight saving time. Again, this is we've made so many clocks, and we've never that I can remember had one where it's automatically getting the daylight savings time for that. We always have to do the -4, -5 on that. So happy that it was able to figure out how to get that to work. And then all of the button controls, like how to get a nice combination of like long presses and like pressing when you're in different modes. It does a different action or function. How the when you start up, how the clock face is drawn. And then it's running at 20 frames per second with a 0.05 second sleep between frames.
Okay.
So a very detailed breakdown on how all of this is written, how you can change all of that, and what values you can use.
Nice. Okay. Let me think. Yeah, I think I'm all good. And trying to think of whatever some interesting takeaways or anything. You kind of explained it pretty good. So
yeah. Let's see the design fusion file. You can edit that, or you can download the ready-made 3MF that has all of the parts. The only thing that'll need supports, unfortunately, is this just because of the way that the standoffs need to rise up above the little flash point connectors that they use to mold the matrix displays backing. There's like these little dots that I didn't want people to have to go in there and snip.
okay.
That like rise above, and the flash, which are just like how the mold is held into the I don't know what's called, the mold plate. There's always like these little pins that attach it, that they cut off when they're doing the molding for it.
Okay.
You just need to have those standoffs on there. So just some bit of support on the sides. And of course, all of the design sources, like the Matrix Portal S3. If you want to import that into your own design, you can get the step STL or Fusion file for importing that into your own design.
Okay.
Listed for that. Assembly, like we were saying before, we shorten the included power cables. This is what it looks like before. How it comes standard. Some of the matrix displays, since we get them from different suppliers, sometimes the little connection is like a circle. So you like insert the screw through it. So sometimes it's a circle, sometimes it's like this little fork-looking connection.
Okay.
But yep, you can chop off the extra two if you not needed, and then size that down. The brackets, I'll use the M3 screws to connect. And then I am angling this according to where the J in hub 75 connection is. So look for that, and that's how you'll lay out your brackets. The matrix portal plate goes on top of that, and then we're using M25 screws for that, only because the matrix portal mounts with M25 screws.
Yeah.
Got a little mix of the M3 and the M25 screws there.
Always do it.
And then the power cable connects to the VCC and ground cables. Just take note of where that is. I have that labeled down here, where the red is the VCC and the black is the ground connection. Use that the included M3 screws that go onto the terminals on the matrix portal. And then the IDC cable plugs into the top, and then to the JN hub 75 socket. It was shown earlier. You'll align the diffuser nubs to the slots on the side of the matrix display. And that's pretty much it. Get yourself a USB-C cable, plug it into preferably the wall, since we were talking about earlier, the battery, it's drawing like 8 watts while it's on. So like a battery, like a small battery would last like 30 minutes or something like that. So not optimized for mobile use. Going into the usage page, if you do not want to connect this to Wi-Fi, or if you forget to edit your TOML file with any of the IDs, this is how it will boot up, giving you the ability to set the time manually with the up and down buttons.
Okay.
And that just tells you how to toggle between the hour and the minutes using the down button, and then the up button is what lets you go through each increment of the values, and then a long press on the down button will do the confirmation and boot you into the display. And it just breaks down the time of day backgrounds.
Oh, nice.
Cool.
With the hours and color descriptions.
Yep. And the wave animation, radio glow, hour markers, the nighttime stars display, pretty much just written more, not all full of code, but more explaining.
Yeah, almost like a pamphlet in the as a product. You would get this sort of text-based info.
And then we have this readme.md file as well in the GitHub. So all that info too. Nice. Which again, I did not ask for any of that. Claude generated it. Just pretty cool.
You might want a readme because Okay.
So super densely featured clock, which was, again, I'm always there's something that's like a simple, with usefulness, and then behind the scenes there's like all this complexity that's making sure that it's UX wise and friendly to if the chip goes down, it knows to restart itself, and how to set up
error handling.
Error handling, yes. There's a move forward. We'll be trying to focus on that now to make sure that it's a pleasure to use as a not just a user, but like I was saying before, for me, this is what's living in the kitchen now.
Yeah, that's super cool. And if you ever want to change colors or anything, you change it up.
Yeah, you can just go in there manually, change this. Of course, edit all of the colors. Again, this looks so much better in person.
Yeah, I'm sure it does. It's very difficult to capture. For whatever reason, RGB LEDs on a matrix, it's just very hard to capture.
It's the PWM. We were talking about last week the distance and then the thickness of the diffusion.
Yeah. Okay.
I winded up staying with the 0.8 millimeter thick.
That's 4 layers.
Yes, I tried 1 millimeter and that was too much. It was, not diffusing as much, and I struck a balance in terms of the how far it is away between having it blurry and where you can you can see the individual pixels on there to make out where the 5-minute markers are on that. So just a compromise between those.
Okay.
And again, funny that it has the accelerometer on there to be able to detect what angle it's at, but the default is if you're going to hang it up, which I think is the coolest way to have it.
Oh yeah, you want your cable pointing down, but if you're on your desk, you want to point it to the left or right. Yeah,
I mean, you even up if your power source is at a higher or something like that.
Yeah.
There's always that, so I didn't have to go through figuring that out, which is good. You can just manually set that up yourself.
Cool. All right, folks. If anyone wants to pick up a Matrix Portal S3, which is in stock, or even the 32x32 Matrix display that's in stock, you can get 10% off your order with our coupon code CLOCKSPRING, because it's clock and it's becoming springtime here in our part of the world. Yeah, great. I love it when things are in stock for the project that we're working on. It's great. All right. If anyone has any questions or anything, feel free to type them out and we'll take a look at them. Cool. All right. So that is Pedro's project this week. Very good job. Very nice design.
Thank you.
And yeah, let's move on over to the next segment of the show where we're talking about the next thing that we're prototyping. Let me go over here. So this is, I think, the finalized design for the MIDI visualizer This is a 6x12 NeoPixel matrix. So we have 2 grids that are fastened together with some dovetail joinery. So the latest thing is I got rid of all the screws, so everything just snap fits together with these dovetails right here. And we're using the NeoPixel Seed/Pebble Strand. So the idea is you just pop these individual NeoPixels into the little holes here that's a part of the grid. And that way there's really no soldering required for the individual pixels or strips. So that's the frame. I was able to get this black LED acrylic here. And I think I need to do one last change now that I'm looking at this. These are the little feet that get, they just slide into these connecting bits here. So that's how those are held up. But because I switched from PLA to PET-G, I'm getting a little bit of shrinkage with my tolerances. So they're a little bit more loose than normal. So I might just make my own version. Depending if folks want to use PLA or PET-G, I just was experimenting with PET-G. And of course, the tolerances are a little bit different. So I might do one last update for these little feet. Everything else seems to be pretty tight, though. So the idea is that it is a MIDI visualizer. So the Qt Py board here has some code that is receiving MIDI. Whenever there's a MIDI note, it'll display it on the NeoPixel arrangement here. So I have some audio software for the Mac. It's called Logic Pro, and I have a MIDI file that I grabbed from the internet of some Chopin playing. So I'm just going to play it back, and you'll see all the notes are distributed across the NeoPixel strips. So I'll play a little bit of that, and of course I have my keyboard as well, so that's playing there. Sorry, I hit record there. But that's the idea of the project. Still finalizing these little feats. I'm going to move off of the Qt Py because it's a little bit bigger than I'd like it. So I'm going to shift this over to a Feather RP2040 prop maker so that I have the screw block terminals. So I don't have to create this crazy wire arrangement. It's a little bit of a weird wire arrangement to get the JST into some silicone wires into the PVC wiring. It's a little bit of a mess, but it's still simple. So that's why I want to switch over to a Feather. If folks want to power this with a battery, they can do that because the Feather has the circuitry for that. Really easy assembly as far as like just popping the LEDs into the little slots here for the grid. I'll also have a printable panel here. So this is a white panel. You could also experiment with some gray transparent PLA. I really like black LED acrylic. I have some on hand, so thank you to Liz for cutting this for me. She has a scroll saw, and she's able to cut it for me. But you can use this as a template as well if you want. This is I think it's just 2 layers thin, so it's very, very thin. But this is 3D printed. You could use some other material as well if you want to experiment with some diffusion. But yeah, again, not again, but just to kind of recap a little bit. Shout out to Carter Nielsen for suggesting to make this project into a light billboard inspired by the movie Close Encounters of the Third Kind. Because in that movie, they have this giant billboard of light that is being used to communicate with the UFO. Yeah, so that's really cool. And I think that's most of the project. Yeah. Interesting way to combine prints with this dovetail thing. I thought that was pretty neat. These little dovetail joints here. I've been trying to use that more since I've created that Japanese-inspired shoji lamp that used 3D printed dovetail joinery. I figured why not do that for this? Because originally I had screw holes up here for these connector brackets, screw holes here why do you need screw holes when you can just 3D print,
Nice.
you know, geometry that will just snap fit and stay locked together. Yeah. So that's the idea here. Yeah. Play the notes. It says Frank Labs. Okay.
Rugrats.
Just a couple notes. Yeah, Rugrats. Rugrats. I'm not really a piano player, but I can play a couple chords, right? So that's about all I'll play there. But it'll work with any MIDI controller. So if you have a MIDI piano or a MIDI, you know, MIDI pads, any type of MIDI instrument will work with it. It's using USB MIDI here, so it'll work with whatever MIDI host computer or an iPad or an iOS device. That should work as well. Yeah, I think that's the gist of it. So next week I should have this all wrapped up and ready for a published Learn guide. But I think, yeah, I just need to get some photos of the assembly here. So this is a bundle of Pebble NeoPixel dots. This is what they look like. They come in this nice arrangement. I think it's $30 for 200 of them. They have 2 inches of spacing between them, which ended up working pretty good. I'm going to leave the back here open just like that, just to avoid having to do yet another iteration of stuff. And I think it's okay to have it open like that, especially if you're just showing it from the front here. Everything's a prototype, right? Yeah, and I'll show.
You'll never see it, so
yeah, you'll never see it, and it's open for folks to modify if they'd like. So yeah, I'll get photos of it in the coming days so I can get the guide all ready. But yeah, I have a leftover of. I'm only using 72 pixels in this arrangement, so I have a bunch of these left over, which is great for other projects. But I'll actually use this strip so I can show how which connector end is the right end, because it's never documented. It's never said, so I'll be sure to document that. This is actually the pixel out. There's really no markings on here either, other than a couple of dots here that tells you that that's the I think that's the voltage, and then this is ground, and I believe this is data in. Yeah, this is data in. This is data out. But yeah, you know, the other thing I want to talk about this. So this is a NeoPixel Pebble Strand, right? We carry a couple of variants of this where there's, you know, 100, 200, 300 pixels. Some of them have a pitch of 2 inches. Some of them have a pitch of 3 or 4 inches. But the weird thing about this is that normally when you're working with a NeoPixel strip, it's there's something called the NeoPixel color order. So normally it's either going to be GRB or RGB. For whatever reason, this strand has the green and the red and the blue are actually swapped. So if you look at the NeoPixel library, there wasn't a way to swap the green and the red. So me and Liz actually made a PR and was able to get it approved and merged in. So now you can tell the pixel order to be BGR.
I think this happened with the LED nets as well. But
oh, really? So those are also
WLED has the ability to do that.
Right. Okay. Yeah, this is specifically with the NeoPixel CircuitPython library. We didn't have the. It was easy. It was just like one line inside the library to add the ability to do BGR. I believe it is BGR is the thing there. So that was an interesting thing. Very strange. Weird that we haven't had pixels before that needed that update to the library. Not a big deal, but something to note. So now green is actually green and red is actually red. I'll talk about next week all the things you can do in the code. I might build on this after. I need to stop and publish this, so that's why I'm like not gonna keep adding things to it. I'm going to do that on my own time, and let's see what folks come up with for it. Kind of a very niche specific thing. You got to have a MIDI controller. You got to know how to use the MIDI controller, that sort of thing. But I wanted to do it, and why not? I thought I'd do it.
No, it's one of those niche things that you can keep around because it's so cool to see it.
Neat, right?
See the music visualized is super cool.
Yeah, and there's other projects for pianos where there's just one single strip distributed across all the keys, and it lines up with the keys, which is nice. That's cool. But I wanted to do something completely different. Yeah, and again, the grid design is inspired by Close Encounters, so that's why I kind of stuck with that. Where there's they're not perfectly square; they're these little chiclet rectangles. Yeah. And while we're here, why don't we do a quick change? I'll just change the code.py to do some LED animations, just so you can see a Strand display here. It is doing the serpentine layout. That's where it daisy chains up and down. And the CircuitPython LED animation library has some special helpers for defining how you want your matrix display to be. Yeah. So you get a little bit of a gradient because of the shape and the throw and the distance from the LED. So you get a little bit of some of them look a little bit like there's a little bit of gradient on the edges there, but otherwise it looks pretty good. I think pretty consistent. Maybe one or two of them have a little bit of extra epoxy, so like it doesn't fully fit in. But you could always like adjust that yourself, which I might do. But yeah, these are just a couple of animations showing the grid running without having to type out any notes. So even as a display, just for some nice things, you can do that. You could also, put your own spin on it. If you want to use like a sparkle motion, you could use WLED and create a grid that way and have some text going across the thing if you don't want it to be a MIDI responsive visualizer.
That's what Vince just said.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah, so if you just want like a cool grid of NeoPixels,
which really the prop maker has the microphone, right? So
it does not have a microphone, but again, you could just swap it in for a sparkle motion. Yeah, so I'll probably write that. But yeah, it's more of an inspirational thing for folks if they want to make it a music thing or actual audio reactive. But for my purposes, I really wanted a MIDI visualizer because I've been wanting to do something like that, especially for some of the finger drumming jams that I've been doing with Liz. It'd be fun to have something a little bit more visual. So that's the idea behind it. Yeah, all CircuitPython, a little bit of help from Claude, Claude Code, just to get this this initial prototype up and running. Yeah, that is the project for next week. All right, moving on to Shop Talk. I wanted to talk about sort of a recommended topic. So Philip Tyrone, PT, Mr. Lady Ada, he saw an article from the Colossal that was talking about the Met, the museum. The Met Museum has some 3D scans of art, and they have the ability to do AR view for each of these objects. So here's the original article from thecolossal.com. Oh, let's get rid of that. And here at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, you can see, click on art, you can look at their collection, and then there is a way to do a search here. This right here is the key. It has 3D image. You click on that. All of these have really high scans. I'm going to sneeze. Give me a second. Okay, I'm better now. You click on View 3D, and you can see this. Are you seeing my screen, by the way?
Yes.
Yeah, right. So these are very high resolution. Yeah, these are so detailed, high resolution. All of the angles are there. You can even see the bottom. Look at how the geometry of the bottom is all there. And then there's this little icon here that says view it in your space. When you click on that, it brings up a QR code. If you have a capable mobile device that can do AR view, you scan that code and it'll let you view it in AR, which gives you the ability to download the USDZ, which is a file format used for a couple different things, but mostly for VR things. So I was able to obtain the USDZ file of this model of the Horus as a falcon. So I put together a quick kind of guide on how you can grab the USDZ, convert it into an OBJ or an STL, bring it into your slicer, make modifications, add support material, and 3D print it. The main takeaway here is that, of course, with all 3D things that are found off the internet that are not optimized for 3D printing, requires a little bit of work. It's not too complicated, but it can be done. So I have here is a 3D printed model of the falcon, Horus as a falcon. So here is my camera. So I scaled it down because I didn't want to spend too much time printing it, but it came out pretty good. I think it's about 100 millimeters tall, and I'm using this PLA marble filament from Polymaker. It's very detailed. I think when I converted the USDZ to an OBJ file, an object file, it reduced the polygon count for me automatically, which is nice. But if you have I don't know, maybe like something Blender could be more granular with how much you want to reduce the polygon count. You don't want it to be too high because then you won't be able to print it. Your slicer can't handle it. So there's all these little things that you can do to it. But yeah, it wasn't really clear that you could download the USDZ file. And, you know, we're used to websites like MakerWorld and Printables and Thingiverse where the download button is front and center. Well, there's no download button on the Mets website. That's fine. But it is nice that you can download the AR, you know, model and then manipulate it however you want. I believe it was only like 7 megabytes. So that's not too bad. It also came with textures as well, which is interesting. And you can see in the blog post that I did, well, really the playground note that I did, I compared it to the AR version somewhere here. Where's it? Yeah, this is actually AR view next to the actual 3D print. The main thing I did was I took off the bottom because it wasn't flat, and because I scaled it down, you can't really make out the hieroglyphics that are on the front there. But yeah, it's pretty impressive. And here it is, fresh, still on the build plate with the support material. Again, I don't think I needed the support material, but you could use supports if you want, and maybe a raft if you want, like the full unaltered thing. All I did was a planer cut, which just made it chop the bottom, so it would be a super flat bottom here. You do all sorts of things with it. So PT thought it'd be a good idea, and the title is what it is: how to 3D print models from the Met, or how to 3D print art from the Met. Again, the Metropolitan Museum of Art. There's tons of things here. Again, in the search, just click has 3D image, and then these are all things that you can 3D print with a little bit of work. If you want a copy of it, you can 3D print it. There's a bunch of stuff. One thing I was looking at was this one piece from Peru that looked really cool. Where is it? There's some not safe for work stuff, but you know, that's art, right? You're going to see some genitals here and there. So, yeah, this one was pretty cool. I like art from Peru and Mesopotamia and all that sort of stuff. But check out that lovely panther with a snake. Yeah. Look at that bottom. Look, they got little stickers on the bottom. I didn't even know that. Yeah. So that's pretty cool. This would be a good one to 3D print as well. But I thought you know, you might need some supports here, but that's fine. Supports are really nice these days. And there's all the information about it. The one I printed again was the Horus as a falcon, which is somewhere over here. There it is. Yeah. Let me know if folks want the STL of it or the 3MF, I guess, of this model. I didn't think it was worth publishing it because I didn't really.
You can grab it yourself.
Yeah, you grab it yourself. You might want to do your own edits to it. But yeah, it's just so smooth and it looked perfect for 3D printing. So that's why I picked this model. Yeah, so that is the side quest that I was kind of given the opportunity to play with.
Yeah, seeing those flutes would be super cool to hollow out and then see if the flute could actually function.
Yeah, right. That would
or
be cool.
the vases, and then make a mold out of it, and then pour actual concrete in
Yeah.
there, and do the what is it, lost casting with the wax, and then duplicate it as a real, clay or vase.
This is so Frank, thanks for the comment. Maybe broadcasting as a copyright violation. I think that's the point that PT wants to do. He wants them to come at us because we have a great team of lawyers, and we're always trying to cause some mischief. And is this a copyright violation?
We don't give away the files. We just say
no. I'm not distributing.
That's a great point that I didn't know if I wanted to make. Where if anything that you can see or that loads on your browser, be it video or audio, or in this case the 3D file, you can download, you can grab. That's why when you were like, oh, I don't see the download button, I was already like, oh yeah, if it loads in your web browser, there is a way to download it. Like the file is in your browser. You can grab that with the, even if it was like the web tools or something, the dev tools, the web dev tools. There's always a way to grab a thing as soon as it's posted.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see if what comes of this. I had another point. What was it? Ideally, I would like to see the Met make their own profile on printables.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe they could be treated as a brand where they optimize these to be printed themselves, and that way incentivizes people to actually go to the Met.
And then the stuff, looking at the mirror and looking what you just typed, copyright of something that was stolen from ancient people, Mesopotamia. Think about that one.
Yeah.
How is this copyrighted from a people's stolen things?
Yeah.
We have some
feelings. I was talking about the MIDI file from CEK3. Where is that? Yeah. I'm not sure. Yeah.
That was like classical.
Yeah. The MIDI file? I'm not yeah, I'm not sure either about that one. Yeah, I guess we'll find out. The MIDI file I grabbed, I'll show you exactly where I grabbed the MIDI file. It's from a website called pianomidi.de. Again, I'm not sharing the MIDI file, but I am playing it back. I don't know. We'll see if
that falls in line with the same thing. Especially from being a creator, where I can look at a thing and know exactly how to recreate it. Like,
well, I'm not
looking at I can visualize it in my head and be like, all right, I can rotate around it in my head and be like, all right, this is how I would recreate this thing. Same thing applies with music. You hear a note, you probably know how to recreate the note. So it's always like why we love being in this open source world where we can create a thing and just give it away, because it's like anything that we see,
either give it away or at least talk about how you manipulated it,
recreate it,
free of what's it called, when you use it's free use or something. I forget.
I don't know. I see a thing, I can recreate it.
I get you. Yeah. So, no, those are all good things to talk about. We should have this discussion. So
yeah,
I won't be for the Learn Guide. I'm not going to be publishing any MIDI files or anything like that. It's yeah. So yeah, cool. Good discussions, everybody. Yeah. Okay. So what a roundabout way. Yeah. 3D printing art a museum that may have stolen the art.
Oh, of course they did.
Stealing it back. You're stealing it back. Yeah, like y'all stole this from
Of course they
Egypt.
did.
Yeah,
Was that
thanks,
one
thank you
video
for the
where
hands, you know.
where the what was it? Was the Toltec guy in the one of the Spain museums? They're like, well, when are you going to give this back to the to the natives? In Mexico?
Wasn't that the beginning scene in the Panther movie, the Black Panther movie?
Oh my God, you're right. Yeah, this has been done a couple times. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely right.
yeah,
This is a running when you give them back the stolen art.
yeah. That's funny. Well, there you go.
Y'all are making money off of things you stole.
Yeah, but good for the Met. You know, advertising that they have 3D scans and they're really nice scans. So if you want to 3D print it, you gotta do some work. You can do it. I'm not gonna share the file. You're gonna do it. A good exercise in using tools. Okay, so that's the shop talk segment. How about we 3D print something that I don't have a good segue. Like 3D print something.
3D. We're gonna for this week's Timelapse Tuesday and Community Makes. We're 3D printing what I wish was here and would stay here: a spring-inspired dragon. Look at the detail of this freaking dragon. Look at all these petals and flowers. Holy crap!
That's a lot of
the trending thing going on right now is that little Mac guy. I did not get in time to print.
Yeah,
this was already printing. Took like 22 hours.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh man, I can't stop this 22-hour print. But yeah, this is why the theme for spring came up. Look at the detail of all these teeny tiny little, I don't know, what are these, daffodil flowers and these
daffodils.
The white
daisies.
Yeah. I'll show this on the desk camera. Standard, you know, 3D printed dragon. I know that's the running joke for all the.
It is. They're calling it the 3D printing slop. Is what the.
So yeah, sorry for the 3D printed sloppy dragon.
Slop.
It's always a trope. But
it is.
Look at the detail of all these, all the crazy color changes, all the.
Yeah, but this is designed by an actual designer who designed it themselves, and it's not like a, you know, someone who just got a 3D printer and is trying to profit off of other people's designs. That's not what this is. This is an actual model posted up by a Meyerhouse on Maker World as a free model.
Look at this craziness.
Yeah. And let me pull up the profile page. You can print it in 5, 4, or 3 colors. Here are some photos of it. Looks fantastic. Look at that detail.
I should have edited the eyeball to be like a
different color
or something. Yeah, I'm guessing that's where the 5th color comes in.
The designer here, Meyerhouse, has dubbed it the Petalcrest dragon. 16-inch long 3D printed fantasy dragon, blooming with life and color. Yeah, looks really cool. And here are some other makes from people, some blue ones.
That's what caught my eye, the freaking detail.
I love dragons. Look at this. Very beautiful.
These look like cactus flowers near his horns, the way that they're all.
Do they? Yeah, they do. Yeah. So you just saw this in your feed and you thought, yeah, why not? Springtime.
Yeah, I'm having trouble coming up with
yeah. We're
time lapse every week.
Yeah.
Like some of the useful things that I post for the blog, you know, is like an adapter to scattish things, so it doesn't make sense to time lapse. It's like, oh cool, it's useful, but visually it doesn't look as cool. I have to always compromise by visuals being more of a priority on how it looks like for the time lapse.
Sure, yeah. Okay. So that is a available model on Maker Worlds. You can 3D print it yourself if you'd like.
Yep, choose your
there's a plethora of dragons. Yeah. Okay. All right, so that is this week's Timelapse Tuesday. We're going to move right on over to Community Makes. These are makes that are sent to us, mostly of projects that we've posted up in the previous years, starting off with a make posted up by that 3D printing guy. This is his make of our heat set insert press. This allows you to rig up a soldering iron so that you can do some heat set inserts for your plastic parts. A lot of folks have made this, and that 3D printed guy says it's a good design and looks excellent too. The only problem is the counterweight is barely heavy enough. So maybe they'll make their own. Lots of different remixes here as well. But yeah, it continues to people continue to make this thing. Although you can purchase one from Amazon, people still like to build their own with parts that they have on hand. Very cool. Looks nice. Also, next up, we have a make posted up by Wellington Fernandez, and they made our Cricut Lab Shaker. This uses an Adafruit Cricut and accompanying board to make an automated shaker for lab equipment. So maybe you want to stir something up. We made this so that we could agitate PVA support material, parts that use PVA support material. That's why we originally made it, but other folks can use it for a number of certain things. So that's really cool. A couple of makes there as well. All right, and then we have a remix posted up by RubeCube. This is their modification to the Raspberry Pi 5 SnapFit case. They modified it to use with an AliExpress eMMC to SD card adapter so that you can see it and elongate the case. So they thought they'd post it up. Very good. Next up, we have a fully made make of the Disney Magic Band reader that we did a couple of years ago. This was put up by Gadget on Thingiverse. Haven't seen a Thingiverse make in a while here, but they said these files printed great and the assembly was easy. Note the instructions. Assume that you know how to use a tap to create the screws for assembling. I highly recommend printing the uppercase part with randomized Z-seam to wipe to infill. Highly curved surface will make any layer issue really stand out. Yeah, that's a good tip there. Printed in their own color scheme here of pink, which looks really nice. And they also say that they spent a lot of time modifying the electronics. They're happy with it. And they said that the ESP32 board and with some tweaks to the NFC chip programming, you can make this thing fully interactive device if you have Home Assistant. And they have their own GitHub repo up there. So thank you, Michael got it for posting that up. That is really nice to see. Yeah, and then there's just a couple of items that they did. They used an Ultimaker S5, and they got some filament from Matter Hackers. Very cool. And the last one to round it up, this was actually brought to us attention by Carter Nielsen. This is actually a an Adafruit form topic posted up by form user BPK-DAM. They said, hi, everyone. I'm designing an enclosure for the P3, P4, P5 RGB LED matrix panels with mounts for the matrix Portal S3. That sounds like something you did, Pedro. I followed the Adafruit SnapFit feature video for the cover. I'm looking for some feedback on overall designs or if something I missed would be beneficial. Currently, it's got 4 magnets instead of via press fits that hold the RGB matrix, optional screws with breakaway covers. Ooh. And a SnapFit cover for the 3mm diffusion panel. This looks fantastic. Proper ventilation holes, little things for the hanging bits. The corner standoffs are built into the side walls, so it's very strong. The acrylic looks great. The SnapFit is like you're doubling up on SnapFit joints, so that's perfect. You're accommodating for any ventilation or any heat with these very nice sized venting holes. Yeah, this looks fantastic. I'd love to see it in action. There are a couple of different cable things here, which looks really cool for panel mounting, some DC jack for power. This looks fantastic. Yeah, I'm really digging this. Yeah, and then they were asking about like how much ventilation does an RGB matrix need when it's running at full capacity? More than 2 vents. They have I think 5 here, which looks great. It's strategically placed as well. The other question was Has anyone tried running this on a battery? I'm not sure how warm they get. I would recommend using a battery, but in small doses, you can use a battery. I believe Carter answered a couple of questions here too. And I read that USB power is enough for basic stuff like text. Can it handle animations like the logo? It's all trying it out and seeing what the power consumption is like. Maybe you can run it on a lower brightness. But yeah, I mean, these are power hungry pixels or RGB LEDs.
Spice.
So yeah. And then there's some general, guidance in this guide here for powering. So I think those are great answers. Thank you, Carter, for sharing that with us. And this is a fantastic design. I'd love to post this up. We'll post this up on the Adafruit blog for 3D Thursday. So folks can check it out and maybe other folks can chime in too. But yeah, I'd love to see this working. Powered up. Cool. I'm wondering what the matrix will display. Maybe some data, maybe some animations. Yeah. But yeah, excellent enclosure design. I'm digging it. So those are the community makes this week. Thank you everybody so much for posting up your makes. It's really cool to see. And Pedro put links everywhere. We are way past our hour slot. Yeah. Time flies when you're stealing art, I guess. And it's whoops. Thank you everybody so much. Again, if you want to pick up anything in the Adafruit shop, you can use our coupon code ClockSpring and get 10% off. Don't forget, this is the last week of sales from Adafruit. So check out the webpage. The clearance sale page has all the items that are half off or more. They're calling us, Pedro.
Spam.
They're calling us to I don't know. They're just they're wagging their fingers.
We're stealing artwork.
How dare you steal MIDI files and art from the net? Oh boy.
That's mine.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you everybody again for joining us. Tonight we have the show and tell. We invite you to come on the show and tell. It starts at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. It will be randomly hosted by either one of us from the Adafruit team. It might be canceled. It might be. It's just kind of like a up in the air every week because it's hard to get.
That's my dinner time, man. I can't make it. Can't rearrange the kids' schedule.
Somebody else is willing to host it on the remote team. They'll host it, but it's all kind of, you'll find out as the time gets closer. So again, it's at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time. Thursday, though, however, is a pretty consistent time with JP. He's got his new streaming setup working. So check out JP Thursday, 4 p.m. Eastern time. Fridays is deep dive with Scott. So Scott does his Friday deep dives at 2 p.m. Pacific or 5 p.m. Eastern. And then on Sundays, Saturdays, random days from the desk of Lady Ada, live stream happens. And then starting off with Monday, we have the CircuitPython weekly meeting that happens at 2 p.m. It happens on the Discord Adafruit server, so you can join in there. Tuesdays at 11 a.m. is Tim Deep Dives with Tim. He's doing his hour-long streams as well on Tuesdays at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And then after that, at 4 p.m. Eastern time is JP's Product Pick of the Week. We have a lot of shows this now. And then also the CircuitPython show is back as well. So subscribe to Paul Cutler's podcast.
Yes.
I believe JP will be a guest soon on the CircuitPython show podcast. So check it out. So many good things. Thank you, everybody, again. Thank you, everybody, on Discord for hanging out with us. Thank you to Wester, Paul Cutler, Yanni. Yeah. JP is up on Monday. Excellent. Well, I'll be listening in on Monday then. All right, folks. We might see you tonight. Yeah, I love that. It's from Jim Hendrickson saying, like, we might see you tonight on Show and Tell. Last week, Liz hosted. It was a last minute, like, can somebody host? I got things to do. It's been really hard to.
We got to move this to like 3 p.m.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, we've moved the Show and Tell before, but
I mean,
yeah.
p.m.
Move to PM. Is that
3 p.m. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really hard to accommodate for everybody. I mean, no matter whatever time slot you pick, you're gonna alienate a subset of people. Yep. This show used to be on Thursdays, but that was many, many years ago now.
When will Ask an Engineer be happening?
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know. We could speculate for the next hour or so. Will it ever be back? I'm not sure. But you're definitely going to see new product videos. I'm really digging the new products. That PT, the format. They're doing it at their own time when they have the bandwidth to do it. Maybe Ask an Engineer will be that as well. But yeah, gotta keep moving along with the randomness of life, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. So that's my thing, but don't hold me to it. I'm not sure. All right, everybody, we got to go. Thank you, everybody, so much. We'll see you next week. But until then, remember to make a great day. Well, that is excellent. Bye, everybody.